Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Carr, the Culture Docent, here to help you navigate and curate the experiences you want to have. Welcome back. This is part two of our conversation on mentorship for the people. Last week, I started our discussion on mentorship, specifically why you should have a mentor, what it takes to find one, what is your role as a mentee. So this week, we are going into the other side of that relationship, being a mentor. This is something I absolutely love. I'm very intentional about. I've started mentorship programs. I've created and hosted speed mentorship events. I've written about mentorship. It's just being a mentor is just that important to me. Why should it matter to you? Why should you be a mentor? If there's a mentorship program, at your job or in your community, in your network, why should you even sign up? Because mentorship is an integral part of advancing the development and growth of individuals. So you have insights, you have experiences that you can share that will undoubtedly benefit others that are on a similar career trajectory, looking to make a transition, looking to expand their networks, increase their career prospects. So just keeping that in mind. You should really think about being, a mentor if you've ever started a new job or a new project or a new initiative and just wish that you had someone to explain the expectations and unwritten rules of the road, like that subcontext that you can only get when you've been in a place for some time. So, you ever been working somewhere and there's an official dress code that they tell you in all of the onboarding documents, and then you get there and everybody got on jeans. Everybody's supposed to be in, business, but everybody has on jeans and you had no idea, right? Or it's well known that when y'all go out for team lunches or holiday lunches, that the team leaders are supposed to pay for their teams and you are a new team leader, but no one told you. You had no idea that you were supposed to come out of pocket to pay for your team. So it's that type of thing that mentors can actually help you with. It is their role really to expose you to the culture, to share the culture, to shape the culture. So it is that type of thing that you need when you are a mentor. That's why you should become one if you want to be the person that shares that so that you're not allowing someone else to show up, in the suit and tie when everyone wears jeans looking crazy. Well, I really want you to also think about the mentorship culture in your field, right, or in your organization. And you'll be able to see if that matters. Again, if you have this culture where no one really tells you the subcultures. If you've been in an organization where or in a field where they assign mentors, first day in you get assigned a mentor, or in the first few weeks you get assigned a mentor, but it is the practice that the mentees are just there to run errands. They don't ever get an opportunity to really teach the class or do the work. If that is the case, that demonstrates the mentorship culture is pretty negative. And also, it feeds into the broader culture of the organization or that field. So, prime example, if you've been at a place where all of the leaders, like the organizational leaders, the folks at the top, never leave the organization unless they retire or they die, right? And no one has any idea who is going to take their place because they haven't been training anyone. You have no idea, like, who's going to be the CEO next. And they don't trust anyone to take over that role, which is why they're still there. So let's really dig deep into what makes a successful mentor mentee relationship. Mentors are going to be responsible for sharing their experiences and their networks. Where possible, mentor, you should be providing resources, identifying opportunities for your mentee to develop, and introducing them to folks that can really help your mentee reach their goals. If you took a great course on the mechanics of speech therapy and your mentee is a speech pathologist, recommend the course. Share the books that you got about the course. Share the presentation that they gave y'all in a PDF after the course was finished. That is what you should be doing as a mentor. If you've been asked to be on a panel and you didn't sat on like 35 of these panels talk about the same topic, and this panel is really going to be no different, but it's, a cool environment, low stakes, provide some visibility, and your mentee has that experience or that skill set, the expertise, give them that experience. Recommend them for the panel. That is what we are talking about when we are saying providing opportunities. You don't need to do that panel again. I know it's very thoughtful. It's an honor to be thought about in that way, but it's also very honorable to share those opportunities, particularly with your mentees. If you work in the tattoo world, as I refer to tattoo therapy, so if you work in that space and you know this master tattoo artist who is like, yep, I'm trying to work with more of these up and coming artists. I have a lot that I want to be able to share with them. And you have a mentee that has also been looking to work with someone, recommend your mentee, introduce them to that master tattoo artist, right? That is the type of thing that we are talking about, getting them that exposure, providing them the resources, just availing yourself so that they can get the opportunities that you are looking for at one point or that they are looking for that will help advance their career. I remember I was like planning to apply for this role, very cool role. It was going to be a facilitator for these executive leadership labs that my organization at the time used to host. Well thought out, pricey labs at that, but got an opportunity to work with executives across these different types of industries all across the country and the world, in fact. So I was telling one of my many, many mentors about this opportunity, and it turns out that she actually used to do that role. She was providing her experience to me, sharing just what she thought were the good and bad parts, just based on, again, when she did it. Years ago. And taking a step further, she also connected me with people that were doing that work currently, either in that office or in a similar like type of office because we were broken up by region. And, I was able to just connect with them to learn about the day to day of the work, if it was going to be a good fit for me based on my personality, my working style. And that was so invaluable to me that she would take the time to connect me to those people. As it turns out, I was not actually qualified for the role, not because of my own skill set, but because of the career model that I was in. We can get on a whole thing about career models and how stringent they could be, but in this organization, everything was run by your career model. It didn't work out in that way. However, I was offered a role, that role, just not in the same capacity. So they wanted me to become a permanent internal employee, which was different than what I was doing. And it was because of those connections that I made. It was because my mentor had introduced me to some folks and I took the initiative to then meet with them and they saw like, wow, she has expertise. Let's offer her this role, even though it's a little bit different than what we were initially expecting. It wasn't right for me at the time for my lifestyle, for what I was trying to achieve and my goals for that moment. So I ended up passing on the opportunity. But even further, I was able to, because I had gone through this process, I had become super knowledgeable about what it takes to, apply for the job, talk to the people. And when someone else in my network came to me and they were like, hey, I heard you had applied for this role, I was able to give them the full rundown of, what it takes. And they applied for it and got it. That was just like full circle being able to, pay it forward. My mentor gave me this knowledge, this context that I was then able to share with someone else. And it benefited them particularly in that moment. And they will probably be able to then share and share alike. And it continues on that cycle. And that is really what mentorship, really just enforce that positive mentorship culture, my organization, and how the overall actually culture there is good or bad. It really depends on how you feel and what how your personal working style and what you're trying to achieve. But that organization was really like heavily network based, and being able to again connect with people, expand my network because my mentor was able to share their network with me. This culture of mentorship as the crux of the overall organizational culture. And so some other considerations I want to share with my mentors and my future mentors out there: keep your relationship professional. Mentor mentee relationship, keep it professional. It is not parental. I don't care about age differences. I don't care if you are 75 and your mentee is 25 and you got grandkids the same age as your mentee. That is not the nature of your relationship. Your relationship is professional. Your relationship is not a parental one. You do not need to be paternalistic. You don't need to talk down to your mentees. You do not need to talk to them as if they are in the lineage of your family and that they're just some young whippersnapper going around. That's not the type of relationship that you want to be building. That's not professional. And when you're offering mentorship, it's going to come from this place of genuine desire to support development of that individual. This is not to create your own little mini me. Okay. You are supposed to be helping them with their goals, achieve their goals. Now, their goals may be very similar to yours, but you're not creating a whole bunch of little yous. And also be thinking about, do they actually need your mentorship? So, Black women statistically are over mentored and under sponsored. And maybe what this Black woman in your sphere needs is a sponsor. And if you are in the space to be that, be that. Don't offer mentorship when you're taking a look at the context and the environment that you're in, right? Like be to them what they need you to be. If it's not a mentor, introduce them to other mentors if that's what they're looking for. If it is a mentor, right, you have someone in your sphere that is a woman in a very male dominated industry, would benefit from having a male mentor whose reputation and perspective carry a lot of weight, right? Like they're well respected within that community. Take that person under your wing, right? Like they would absolutely benefit from that type of mentorship and that visibility. And that is, a commitment that we should all be making and be thinking about when considering becoming a mentor. Additionally, I want you to be mindful of your own biases, okay? Do not invalidate your mentee's experiences at all. Just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean that it's not happening to them and vice versa, okay? Do not invalidate. This is really important because you want to be supportive. It's not, y'all aren't going to walk the same journey. Everyone's journey is different, right? Like y'all might be on similar paths, but don't invalidate their experiences. And furthermore, if you really in your mentorship bag and really doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you will be using some of that social capital you have, and you might have to expend that. You might have to put some of that on the line. I'll give you an example. I had an incident at work where I was completely disrespected by another person in the organization. It was someone who was at a higher level than me and just had never really been in that type of situation before well, I had, but I didn't know how to handle it at this organization. I had been in previous organizations and I knew how to handle it there, but the culture was different here. And so, I'm sharing this experience that I've had as I'm kind of mulling it and not necessarily asking for advice, though I could have, but I'm sharing this with a couple of my mentors. Both of my mentors that I shared this with absolutely jumped to and were like, look, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? Do you need me to talk to this person? Because, I know them. I have a relationship with them, a working relationship with them. And I would be happy to talk to them about kind of this incident and finding a way forward. The other one was like, look, I can escalate this to, talent relations. I could talk to your supervisor because I have a personal relationship with them. Like, what do you need me to do? Ultimately, I determined how I wanted to handle it, and it wasn't either of those routes, but it meant so much to me that they were so willing to step up and again expend that social capital, and that political capital to say, like, look, I'm gonna support my mentee in this space, and even further, I'm gonna protect them in this space because I want them to have a good experience here at this organization that I love and that I value, and being disrespected is not a part of that. So I will do what needs to be done. And that is really your role, right? It doesn't mean that you have to jump in and swoop in and save people all the time. But if you see a place where that you could be an additional support, you can offer to go to bat for them in those ways, you need to be doing that because that's what mentorship is about. And please, 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 please do not come into your mentor mentee relationship with romantic intentions. Do not come into your mentor mentee relationship with romantic intentions. It is completely inappropriate. That is completely inappropriate. And honestly, it could be irreversibly damaging to the reputations of everyone involved in ways that you won't even imagine, that you were not even considering, because the only thing that you were thinking about was, damn, this person's fine. And, they're extremely smart and I would just love to possibly date them. Not while they're your mentee. Not at all. Okay. So it's just keep that out of the picture. And it's not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to their career. It's not fair that they were seeking you out or you sought them out to build a certain type of professional relationship that will enhance their career development. And then you approached it from this kind of romantic and appropriate lens. And if you're not careful, it could be against the law. So, like, we don't even want to get into that. We don't even want to get to that level, right? So just keep it professional, keep it on the up and up, and everyone will benefit from the relationship, right? Or if you feel like you can't, don't take them on as a mentee. Period. Don't take them on in that capacity. Just leave the completely leave that relationship alone. Do not try to forge or cultivate one. Just walk away, right? And lastly, if you are a favored mentor, and I love that for you. I love that, so many people are like, yes, I want that to be my mentor. And you are so invested and you're like, yes, I would absolutely love to take you on as a mentee. I still need you to be very realistic about the time you're able to devote to your mentees. So maybe, you need to be like my big boss mentor that I mentioned before, Arlene, and put your mentee in touch with some of those people in your sphere that might be more accessible and can meet more frequently. Maybe you need to create a mentor circle. Or a mentor group, right? So Arlene actually introduced me to my mentor, Janet, who love you, Janet, always will. You have been amazing. Janet was tremendous, right? And everybody loved her. She loved mentoring. Everybody wanted her to be a mentor. And she had this just diverse group of women from all these different backgrounds, but had similar career interests, career goals. She brought us all together into this mentor circle. And so instead of meeting individually one on one all the time, we would meet as this group. And being the amazing mentor that she is, she absolutely expanded our world and opened her world to us. So she brought us into her home. She has cooked for us. She has brought us to when she changed jobs, she brought us to her new place of employment to share all of the things that, she had been doing, introduced us to her new team and what they were doing for women in their organization. Just all of those types of things and just really brought in, our network by expanding her network and sharing her network, introducing us to each other. So now we are operating as peer mentors and having that connection because, as I reminded you, right, mentorship is mutually beneficial. It is a reciprocal relationship. You should be learning from your mentor as much as you learn from your mentee and vice versa, right? So it is going to be that back and forth. We both sides of this have something to offer, and there's just so much to learn within that mentor mentee relationship. I would love to keep talking about mentorship, but we have reached carte blanche. So, wrapping all of that up around, just being a great mentor, keeping that relationship professional and ensuring that you are contributing positively to the culture and helping advance and develop folks, providing opportunities. That is your responsibility as a mentor. But I'm actually going to, for carte blanche, answer a question I received about being a mentee. So, question is, what level should my mentor be? And I'm hoping I'm going to answer this question correctly based on my understanding of the question. So, every organization is going to be different. There's different structure, different dynamics, all of that. But in general, I'm gonna suggest that your mentor is actually 1 or 2 levels removed from you in whatever job structure you have. You a GS7 in the federal government, right? Then your mentor should be, a 9 or 11. If you are a director level, then your mentor should be a VP, a vice president, or an EVP, executive vice president level. If you are an analyst that's more entry level, then your mentor should be manager type person. Not your manager, not your direct manager, because y'all know I don't like that, but should be a manager, a managerial level person. And really, again, just base that off of whatever industry and field you're in your organization. Of course, you can ask me in the comments if you have more questions about that. But what I'm ultimately trying to help you avoid is that you reach out to your CEO. I don't care how flat your organization is, but you're reaching out to the CEO, you're entry level, and you're hoping that they're gonna be, your mentor. And yes, that might work out, but it might not because they are busy running a company and they don't necessarily have the time to contribute. Also, it could be 15, 20 years since the last time they were in your shoes, in your role, right? They are really far removed from being an entry level professional. And that doesn't mean that their experiences are invalid, but it may be outdated. The advice that they give you may be less relevant, not irrelevant, but less relevant for you because, again, they haven't gone through that process. They feel the industry, the organization has changed in the last 5 years, let alone 15 years. So the information that they have to give to you may not be as relevant or as helpful as you need it if you were to go to someone that has more recently been in your shoes, that has more recently gone through a promotion or gone through this process or has done the things that you've done within maybe the last 5 years or the last 2 years, right? Depending on their level. And that's really what you would want for that mentorship. Because again, it's not necessarily about the years they've been there, it's about the experiences that they have. And, not everyone is going to be able to have this huge, expansive network, and that's okay. You're not necessarily looking for whoever has the biggest network. You're looking for who is going to be able to support you in reaching the goals that you have for yourself, right? And setting those expectations together as a mentor, as a mentee, and what you hope to get out of the relationship. So, if that did not fully answer your question for whatever reason, please feel free to follow up with me. But yes, check out for your mentor being maybe just, one or two levels removed. So I cannot wait to have y'all back next week. We are going to be talking about the importance of collaboration and not only enhancing your culture, but in developing yourself as a more inclusive leader. Y'all know I love inclusive leadership. So everything is always going to tie back to that somehow, some way, some shape, some sort of fashion. But in the meantime, make sure you are putting KMOB 1003 radio on during your Friendsgiving, your Thanksgiving festivities. We absolutely love to provide that soundtrack to all of those memorable moments you're sharing with your loved ones. So enjoy your holiday, and I will see you Tuesday for more empowering conversations that lead to empowered experiences. Bye, y'all.